Mayor Bain.
Here, I invite everyone to rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Council, we have an agenda before you this evening. I will entertain a motion to approve or any changes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose, and agenda's approved. Our next item this evening is open forum. Open forum is any interested party's opportunity to provide feedback to council. And not seeing anybody in the audience. Karen, anybody online for open forum this evening?
There's not.
All right, we will close open forum and move into a closed session. Does somebody have a motion to move us?
Mayor Bain, I move to close the meeting pursuant to Minnesota Statute Section 13D.03 for labor negotiations. The closed session will be held in the Forest Lake Conference Room and will commence immediately. Once the closed session is completed, the City Council will return to council chambers for the remainder of the regular City Council meeting agenda.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose, and we're in closed session. All right, council, our next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. Items for your consideration tonight are items 7A through 7M. I am happy to entertain a motion or any changes.
Mayor Bain, I'd like to pull item B. And with that, I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda items 7A and 7C through 7M.
I'll second.
Motion, and we'll take a second from Councilmember Munson. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the minutes from November 15th, to be 7B.
There's a motion for 7B. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain?
Abstain.
One
Abstain.
abstention. Two abstentions. All right. Moving on to our regular agenda, we have item 8A, which is Resolution 12-13-2103. And Jamie is not here this evening. Patrick or Dan, are you pinch hitting for Jamie?
Oh, the last one, which one? I'm sorry. Oh, yes, I'm sorry, yes, she's sick today. Yes, we had asked you to approve Resolution 12-13-2103. We got a donation of $1,500 from the Forest Lake Lions for the hometown holiday and tree lighting, and we're very appreciative.
That I move approval of Resolution 12-13-2103 with gratitude.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose, and motion carries. Our next item is item 8B, which is Resolution 12-13-2104, which is the Shields Lake land swap and lot line adjustment. And Nathan.
Good evening, Mayor Bain, members of the council. Sorry, as I speak into the microphone now. This item is associated with a land swap on Shields Lake, as I'm sure the council is familiar with this request. The request does appear to meet all applicable subdivision and zoning standards and requirements. The action requested of the council is to approve Resolution 12-13-2104, which would allow staff to continue working with the applicant on this project.
Good. Thank you, Nathan. Council, are there any questions for Nathan this evening on this item?
I think we've had some discussion on this one before. With that, I move approval of Resolution 12-13-2104, resolution approving the exchange agreement with Joseph Palumbo and Dina Palumbo.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose, and motion carries. Next item is Ordinance 706, which is the 2022 fee schedule and summary resolution. Karen?
Thank you, Mayor Bain. This was presented to council at the previous meeting for review. Annually, we update our fee schedule, and it is an ordinance, so it has to be voted upon. What you have in front of you is the changes. I put it into a summary memo that shows the changes. Then you'll have a copy of the full ordinance, and then finally a summary resolution. We typically publish a summary resolution because the ordinance is so long. And so the summary resolution also has shows the changes that were made.
Thank you, Karen. I know this has been a topic of a couple of discussions already in workshop. Any further questions that come up for Karen this evening?
This has been discussed for quite some time, and I think we all agreed that it was certainly within line. So with that, I'd make a motion that we accept Resolution 12-13-21-05, the ordinance number 706 the 2022 fee schedule.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion this evening? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Our next item, 8B, ESO Records Management Agreement. Chief Newman.
Mayor, members of the council, up for consideration is the ESO software contact management system for the fire department. This was brought in front of the Joint Fire Board on several meetings here throughout the year to discuss implementing a records management software system for the fire department. Currently, we do not have a records management system. Everything is tracked through either Excel or several different programs that don't talk to each other. The Joint Fire Board unanimously approved implementation of this for next year. The ESO software has an annual fee of $9,297 a year. 20% or right around that dollar amount is funded through Columbus. The reason why it was brought forth today is because of the implementation fee of $5,060. That wasn't included in the 2021 budget, but we do have the funds to spend that for and being budget neutral in the 2021 budget. The setup is around 90 days to 120 days for them to input all the information that we have for inventory, assets, truck equipment, personnel, training records, property information, pre-planning information. With this program, it will make the fire department more efficient. It will allow us to pick up ISO numbers, points that we have not been able to get in the past, and it also will be used by both Forest Lake Public Works and Columbus Public Works for all their hydrant flow testing and maintenance and inventory by both cities. And then we'll also be able to use it to track resources throughout the city, like all the AEDs and the squad cars and within the building in the fire department, medical equipment, training records. And that's just something that we've not been able to do. Each department's been doing that through Excel or just paper file. And you'll be able, as part of this program comes an analytic module that allows you to run several different reports throughout all the other modules. And then we had Lavander review the agreement, and we talked with Roseville IT to make sure that the software was secure and that our data would be secured. This is a cloud-based system. It does run off a desktop and iPads. And as you know from previous discussions, we have iPads in all of our trucks. And this software, unlike a lot of softwares, isn't user-based. It's unlimited users within the system. You pay for the equipment and the personnel you have. That's how that's based for payment. So payment will be very consistent for us going over time in the future. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
You say equipment, is that the sessions that are in the contract? Is that what,
2 stations.
yeah, is that,
The sessions speak to the training.
oh, that's training, okay,
Yep, and then it's based on 12 fire apparatus.
okay, thank you.
Chief Newman, did you say you currently track on Excel and paper right
The
now?
majority of, like all of our training records are just put into training files, and everything's tracked on Excel. So if I was to run a report on who's gone through the water rescue training, I would have to look through all the files to determine that, and it's a tough way to manage it.
It
Mayor
certainly-
Boehner?
Time for an upgrade, right?
Yeah, certainly makes sense to me. I'm all about improving data collection and increasing efficiencies, for sure. This seems like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, well,
Mayor Bain, I'd like to make a motion to approve the ESO Records Management Agreement.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Any
Co-
further discussion?
comment.
Councilman Presnick?
yeah, Mara and I both were at that meeting for the Joint Fire Board, and just seemed like it should be make things a lot more efficient and more accurate, so I fully support it. So,
With that, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Oppose? And motion carries. Our next item this evening is Resolution 1213-2106, consideration for delinquent utility accounts final certification. And Kim, I believe you are walking us through this.
I'm going to probably ask
Go
to have that pulled because we actually met our requirements in November 8th with the resolution that we had passed.
Fabulous. So actually, we don't need to pull it from the agenda, you just don't need council action, is that
We
what I'm
don't need
hearing?
it on the agenda.
Yeah, you
If I may.
previously passed a resolution that took care of this.
Fabulous.
you need a motion for that effect?
No, I
Okay.
don't think so.
Your Honor, members of council, if you want to pull it from the agenda, that would be a motion at this time, but if you simply decide to take no action, that doesn't require a motion.
Taking no action acceptable, Sandy?
I don't know that we have anything for you, though.
Okay.
to
No,
look
take no
at.
action, I mean, there's nothing to take action on, so it's either way, but
We received a report from staff. Okay, we will move on. Next item, item 8F, 2022-2024 Mape Agreement. Patrick.
yes, before you tonight is the 2022 to 24 Mape Agreement. This union represents the supervisory personnel of the city. There's 5 members, I believe. This is similar to other contracts that we've approved this year. We have previously approved the AFSCME contract and the 49ers contract. The very small changes to most of the contract, but the major highlights is the increase in annual wages. And those are set for a 3-year contract each year with a 2% increase each January 1st and a 1% increase each July 1st. Again, this will last until December of 2024, which means we have 3 contracts settled, and we'll have 2 more to negotiate next year with both the Sergeants Union and the Police Patrol Union. And I recommend the council approve it, and if you have questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Council, any questions for Patrick this evening?
Mayor Bain, I move adoption of Resolution 12-13-21-07, a resolution approving the wage scale adjustments for non-bargaining unit staff.
Or actually on the one right above it, for the Mape Agreement.
The Mape Agreement.
Do you want to moderate, so
Um,
the resolutions for the non-union, the next one?
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
So I'm looking at
F?
133. This is the Mape Agreement. Page 133.
No, 133 is the non-rep, that's a resolution for the
Oh,
non-represented.
I'm sorry.
You would just approve the
I'm
MAPE
sorry,
agreement,
I
the
misspoke.
contract between MAPE and the city.
Usually I'm the one that skips ahead.
I skipped ahead.
Yeah.
I apologize.
So I would move that we approve the 2022-2024 Mape Agreement.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on this? All right, just add in, it's great to have one more agreement approved with our employees, and it's great to see another 3-year agreement in place. So nice work to all in getting this done before the end of the year. Much appreciated. With that, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? And agreement is approved. Now we'll move on to item 8G, which is the consideration for non-union employees. Patrick.
Yes, Resolution 12-13-2107 authorizes the increase for those non-representative employees. I believe there's 3 or 4 of us. What we're trying to do here is to make wage equity between all the unions and the non-reps. This also then, a resolution recommends a 2% increase each January 1st of 22, 23, and 24, and a 1% increase on July 1st, 22, 23, and 24. What this will do, again, pay equity, it reflects the other 3 contracts that we have approved. So I am asking the council approval for the resolution, and if you have questions.
Mayor Bain, now I recommend we adopt Resolution 12-13-21-07, the resolution approving wage scale adjustments for non-bargaining unit staff.
There's a motion.
I'll second.
And a second. Any further discussion on this item? All right, with that, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? And resolution is approved.
Stayed home tonight.
Our next item this evening is 8H, which is authorized petition for partial transfer of judicial ditch 4. And Ryan.
Mayor, City Council, tonight we're looking for the City Council to authorize submittal of the petition to Rice Creek Watershed District for the partial transfer of Anoka, Washington Judicial Ditch 4. There is a figure in your council packet on the last page of this agenda item that shows that location that we're talking about transferring to the City of Forest Lake. Portion upstream from here, starting at Fenway Avenue to the north and east, has already been transferred as development occurred. This area is critical in regards to the Hidden Creek developments and then also the bonding bill corridor drainage study area that we're chasing future funding for. But in essence, with the transferring this, will provide flexibility in designing and constructing additional stormwater management systems as defined by the GD4 stormwater study and assist in the critical pathway of the Hidden Creek developments. With that, I'll open up with any specific questions.
Ryan, I have a question. So we authorize petition. What happens next?
Basically, we give the approval for Rice Creek to start the process, and then they'll take it through all the public hearings. Part of the development will have to show and satisfy watershed that we're not have any negative impacts on the JD4 system. Obviously, that's going to be through the stormwater design of the developments, and then our goal is to have this as more of an open channel with a trail constructed alongside. If it were to stay as is, it would be a drain tile pipe in essence. So we're looking to open it up to provide stormwater volume and rate and treatment, and then also to provide that aesthetically along the trail corridor that's proposed through the developments of this project.
And how long does that process take? Our petition, public hearings, their consideration, crystal ballot?
3 months, probably.
Okay.
To the point, we know we have to come up with 2 designs to continue the process of the permitting through Rice Creek, but we want to be ready for spring construction.
Understood. Council, any other questions for Ryan this evening on this item? All right, I would move that we authorize petition for partial transfer of judicial ditch 4.
I'll second.
And a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? And motion carries. And our next item this evening is item 8I, which is the approval of the downtown stormwater study. Ryan?
Mayor, City Council, just here as a formality, we want to complete a study, but then also obtain your formal approval so we can proceed with the final steps of what could become of this plan. We did present to the Economic Development Authority earlier tonight. I believe we have full support of them to continue moving forward with this. We have presented to Comfort Lake Forest Lake Watershed Board and staff, and as I spoke earlier in the EDA, it's not a plan that I don't feel that we've vented and thoroughly talked about and discussed more and come to a conclusion what's within this. And if there's some questions now, I would say there's no way, because we haven't invented something more than this than we haven't anything else in the last 2 years in this city in regards to engineering studies. So with that, basically this is a alternative permitting process that developers could use and utilize once implemented in the city's fee schedule to, abide by the rules and requirements of the watershed district and the 3 separate areas that have been defined in the study. They'll have 3 separate rates. Last up, obviously we want your approval on this, and then we will work on finalizing the fee schedule with city staff and watershed district staff. And we'll have to implement that into the city's fee schedule, and then future funding and planning accordingly to move forward to implement the alternative permitting process. But this basically has come to what we've heard loud and clear in the downtown district zoning area, that we want to continue the 100% impervious, 0 setback that will maintain the character of our downtown. Alternatively, if a developer were or want to give up willing buildable space, they could do stuff on site or underneath ground and parking lots if they can still come to an engineering solution to achieve the permitting rules and requirements. As you go in the northern district up 61 to Highway 8, we're holding the developer to 85% impervious along with the Broadway area to the west. If they go over that, then they'd have to do something on site to fulfill the rules and requirements of the watershed. Otherwise, the planned areas within the plan would allow them to redevelop to the 85% coverage on those lots that's being redeveloped. So with that, we're just looking for formal support from the city council so we can complete the final step of this is the official fee schedule that would be moving forward. And we would adopt that separately because over time, say 10, 15 years from now, obviously our costs will have to go up to account for what's estimated in here today. Just like we just did earlier up on 9C.
An evolving thing, for sure.
Yep.
Brian mentioned this, did go before the EDA tonight, and they did unanimously pass a resolution of support for council's approval. And there was just a great discussion around the study overall and the next steps related to the study, so.
I think it's a good step forward, and at least we'll have a plan out there. And I know that Ryan has spent how many hours working on this thing with the
Well, even
watershed
city
district?
staff
and-
has been
yeah.
fully invested in this.
Yeah.
Patrick, Dave,
So,
it's not
And-
just one or two people
Yeah.
from watershed. It's a whole group of collaboration, boards, elected officials, city staff, watershed staff, so MinDOT's.
thing with it is, I don't think we can come up with a better plan.
Yeah.
And so therefore, I'd make a motion that we approve the downtown stormwater study as per Ryan Goodman just stated.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose, and motion carries. That ends our action agenda for this evening, and we will move on to just a discussion-only portion, workshop discussion. And always great to hear from Ryan at the end of the year and a year in review. Go ahead, Ryan.
Mayor, City Council just put this formally together, just to kind of reflect on all the things that we've been a part of over the last year. It's not obviously a comprehensive list, but it's a list of some of the bigger things that have been accomplished throughout the city. And, as time kind of goes so fast through a year, you kind of forget a lot of the things you work on or approved, or a lot of the meetings that we are involved with and some of the decisions and planning, and or some things that are still in the middle of planning. But, at the end, there's going to be a lot of successful projects at the end of those. It's exciting to see some of the things on here that include future planning for County State Aid Highway 33, Highway 97, but then you see all the commercial and housing development that we're talking about in here. You potentially could have a construction year busiest than you've ever had in the city of Forest Lake next summer. So that's, obviously very, very exciting. And I think that's always going to continue to be a trend as, you keep hearing news and media release out of the Minneapolis-St. Paul area that, people are looking for space, safety, and amenities that we have to offer. And I think this is going to be a great location for a lot of people. And as whole at-home thing continues to grow, we'll continue to work with internet providers on that. But, I do continue to see that this is going to be a place a lot of people are going to be picking to live in. And when we see that type of growth, we see then money going into our commercial properties, into our school, and all that other stuff that comes with it. So just fun to lay this out to see where we've kind of come. You can see just on the very top with roads, 19, we weren't bonding to supplement any road funding, but you can see what we were able to accomplish in 20 and 21. We do have some bonding money coming in 22. And then also, we've talked about bonding additional funds in the future, which will also provide flexibility that we can now aggressively chase grants again, because we do have some money that we could show as our local share if we were successful, where previously we were very successful in a lot of big grants, but we were able to use our state aid money, but we know our state aid money's tied up for several years with those cooperative agreement projects that are coming along the pipeway. So that's, I hope to expand that funding section next year, because that's probably one of our smallest years ever, but now being flexible again, that gives us more opportunity to chase stuff and take chances on things. And then we always talk about, you know, one of the things we always say, Bowling Green's gonna be involved in your community. You can see all the things that we're involved with in sponsorship. And I was very sad that this year, because it didn't happen, I had to take off the polar plunge, but that's on again February 19th this year. So certainly be looking forward to that this year, so, and have that back. So with that, just wanted to provide a little quick year in review to see all the things you guys were part of in 2020, 21, and it's gonna obviously grow and expand in 22, so.
Thank you, Ryan. Any questions for Ryan on the year in review? Always great to see, and especially appreciate all of the community involvement, and yeah, it's an impressive list yet again, so much appreciated. All right, let's move on to staff updates, and we'll start with Karen.
Thank you, Mayor Bain and council members. I do not have any staff updates at this time.
All right,
Happy to be at the end of the year.
all right, Nathan.
Evening. Planning Commission's keeping us, your planning staff, pretty busy. We have, big picture-wise, we have a few residential subdivisions that are somewhere in the concept planning process, so that's exciting. Other than that, I don't have any other updates for you.
Dan.
Mayor, members of council, have a couple of updates for you. Downtown planning, we're looking at launching another online engagement session for the downtown directives. I believe that'll be out in the next week or so. I know it's gonna go out before Christmas. And then in January, we'll be doing another in-person session. So there'll be another kind of round of community engagement on the directives that we met, I believe at the last downtown planning, those were released. The plan right now is just finalizing what that engagement will look like. So another round is coming out of that. And then if you have a moment, I just want to direct your attention to the EDA packet. There's a nice year-end summary in there of all the projects that the EDA did. I don't have it in front of me tonight, but if you have a moment, check that EDA packet out to kind of go through the work that the EDA accomplished in 21 as well. And finally, I know this comes up about every summer. There's a lot of questions about what actually the stormwater fee gets used for. That webpage is actually updated now. I worked with Dave and Kim, and we actually have that page updated. So all the projects and the fees are on there. So if any residents call asking about the stormwater fee, the page on the website is updated with current stats and statistics. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Dan. Dan, as you think about releasing the engagement and the next round of engagement, can we couple that with some communication around where we are in the process and what kind of, just, I want recognition, I guess, or I'm looking for a focus on that we're at the planning stage, and that, you know, individual projects will come forward at later dates, and we're looking more at the overall concept plan.
Yeah,
just making sure that that's clear.
I'll make sure I circle back with Bruce on that one to make sure that it's clear that we are looking at still a fairly high level of planning activity at this point and not the actual granular project level. So I'll work with him on the messaging surrounding the communications for that.
Excellent.
Yes, I would agree, Mayor Bain. We have some really excited citizens about this. I handed off to Dan to get on a communication list that are ready to bring Ben and Aaron in from HGTV to give the downtown a complete refurbishing. So I think it's a good idea to let the community know just where we're at in this process.
Agreed.
I think they're maybe feeling we're a little further along than we really are. And that it's a long road.
And there's also the tendency to jump in at the individual specific project when we're
Right.
interested in that feedback, but also we're still talking at the overall concept as well, so.
And we appreciate the enthusiasm
That's right, yes.
and engagement.
Pete?
Your Honor, council members, since I understand this is the last meeting of the year, on behalf of Amanda and myself, I'd like to thank council and staff for the chance to work with you this year. Wish you happy holidays, happy new year. And on behalf of just myself, not Amanda, I'll report that next week she's covering a city council meeting for me because that council decided to have an ugly Christmas sweater meeting that night. And so I personally would like to thank this council for not doing that.
Strive to be your favorite council. Yes, whatever it takes. Thank you, and happy holidays, and thank you for the fantastic service we get from you and Amanda. Much appreciated.
I'm going to make a note for next year, Pete.
Yeah.
Now that you mention,
Yes, I'd just like to also reiterate what Nathan said, is that we're very busy with all these developments all of a sudden coming in, so staff is working towards that. I'd like to thank the council for approving the stormwater study tonight. That, combined with the downtown study and the sewer study, is kind of the three pieces that, the major pieces that we'll need to begin to put a plan together. I think those infrastructure things kind of get put to the side, but those are two very important parts of the downtown, any possible redevelopment. And then finally, I'd just like to congratulate the Parks, Lakes, and Trails and Jamie for the hometown holiday event and the tree lighting. It was a great success, and the tree looks really nice. So that's it. If you have questions, let me know.
Any questions for Patrick? All right, Dave?
No updates this evening.
All right. Ryan, anything further for council?
No additional updates. Any questions you might have?
All right. Chief Peterson?
Yeah, we had held our Shop of the Cop event last Thursday. It was a huge success, so I definitely want to thank all the volunteers and businesses that assisted at that event. And just want to wish everybody a safe holiday season. Do you have any questions for me?
how many kids did you end up having there for your Shop of the Cop?
We had 9 kids.
9 kids, okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yep, it's fantastic.
Fabulous. Chief Newman?
No updates unless there's questions.
Anything for Chief Newman? All right. You got software implementation in your stocking tonight.
Thank you.
All right. Sandy?
No additional.
All right. And Kim?
No updates, thank you.
Fabulous. Bring back to council. We'll start with Councilmember Munson.
No updates this evening.
All right. Councilmember Byström?
No major updates, just to thank you to city staff for their great work this year, and it's an honor to kind of partner and collaborate to get some great work done in the city.
Fabulous.
So, thank you.
Councilmember Husnick?
You ready for this? I attended the tree lighting ceremony the other day, last Saturday, and I was really surprised how many people showed up. As cold as it was,
right.
it was raw out there.
Cold,
So,
yes.
fantastic event for the city, and I'm glad that it happened. Also, I attended the EDA meeting tonight, as Mara did also, and you already heard from Ryan, that was the gist of the meeting. Basically, it was the stormwater plan. And Planning Commission, I attended part of the meeting for the Planning Commission the other night because of an interest of one item that I had, and it had to do with a sign ordinance, and it ended up getting tabled because there was an issue with not advertising the public hearing part of it and that kind of thing. But one thing that came glowing out of this thing to me is that we need to start reviewing our sign ordinances. They're outdated, bad, and there's technologies that are changing things, and so there need to be some reviews going on with rough lines and sizes and all these other things that don't work out with the new technology. So anyways, that was the gist of that. And then I attended a school board meeting the other evening, and lots of things to talk about there. They did finalize their levy, and it's going to be slightly under 1%. So some people may not even see an increase at the school this year. So they're pretty happy about that, and it made me happy too, to be honest with you. Dr. Massey had made a trip to the United Kingdom and Finland with the trade mission. He talked about that and the differences because he met with school supervisors and that kind of thing, and how they treat education. So he had lots of good information coming out of that. Other than that, they did talk about all the new course proposals that they're thinking about, like 9th grade engineering and ninth grade carpentry, robotics and automation, exploring medical careers, genetics and medicine, exploring healthy living, 21st century literacy, visual arts, venture into business, adventures into global agriculture, a proposal of the course on Be the Change, exploring industrial technology, healthy you and beyond, and the media arts. So they had a very robust meeting that evening, and personally, there's quite a few things on this list that I like to see, especially the engineering and robotics and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, that's thankfully all I have tonight, so thank you.
Excellent. Councilmember Valento.
No updates for me.
All right. Just quick updates from me, and primarily just a year-end wrap-up. As most of you know, it's our tradition that this is our last meeting of the year unless there is something else that needs to come before council, of which we would schedule that second meeting of the month. But barring that from happening, this is our last meeting of the year, and just opportunity to wish you all a very happy holiday and thank everybody for their great work this year. There's a lot of accomplishments that have gone into all of our year-end reviews. We've set a nice stage, I believe, for 2022, especially with the budget that we passed this evening. So thank you all for the great work. Recharge some batteries and look forward to seeing you all in 2022. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose, and we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Happy holidays, everyone. Thanks.